You take it away, Drew. Whoa.
No.
Say it.
What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to an update edition of Scone. This is the Bible. Hogawithin.com. To bet someone you know. Hogawithin.com.
Good job. All right. This is welcome to an in-transit edition of Morning Scone, presented by Brock, the Veterans Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Drew and I are headed to the doctor this morning. No big deal. Drew's got his flu shot today, so we're going to head over to go see Dr. Brummond. Drew will get his flu shot, and then I'll take him on to the new St. Lillian. So, my apologies for the late start for everyone who normally expects us earlier than this. What sound is that?
Hi.
Hey, what sound is that? Boo! What makes that sound?
Moo.
Hey, what makes that sound?
Swoo.
Well, it's the elevator. Of course, Drew made that sound, but he's imitating the elevator at Dr. Brummond's office. Because after Drew gets his flu shot, then Drew gets to ride the elevator. Okay. All right, y'all, good morning. If you're new to Morning Scone, when we do in transit editions, I don't actually get to keep as close an eye on the comments, for obvious reasons. I'm driving. When we come to a stoplight or a stop sign or something like that, I'll do my best to glance down if I can, say some good mornings there, and read your questions, comments, concerns, etc. Hi, Drew. So, Hump Day, midway point of the week, Brian Kelly will be on the SEC Coaches Teleconference at 10 a.m. Hopefully, we'll get an update on Will Campbell at 10 a.m. Curious if Will's been practicing this week. He was, as Brian Kelly said on Monday, set to be discharged on Monday. I don't know if that means he's back at practice on Tuesday. Keep in mind, Monday is just like the very light recovery day. Tuesday is when they go full pads. Like, that's their full big workout for the week as they get toward the game. And then they start to taper down as the week goes along. Obviously install, and you want to make sure you get healthy and have your legs under. You're ready to go for Saturday. And this being a travel week, of course, they're going to travel on Friday. So it's kind of, I mean, you do have generally have a walkthrough practice Friday before they travel Friday afternoon to Gainesville. So I'll be interested to see if Will Campbell practiced yesterday or if they're planning on him practicing today. All right, let's say good morning. It's Tim Gotro. What's going on? Brad David. Jason H. Hunter Broadhead. Good morning. Leon Williams. Brett DeGrow. Good morning. Be strong, Drew. How about the HUD code jingle? We'll get it. Michael Thacker. I think 2-mouse setup or double mouse setup will suffice. I like that. That's a reference to AFR yesterday where we discussed hi, Drew, the plural of hi, Drew, the plural of mouse on for your computer mouse. Marcus Washington, Rapping Batches. Kyle DeVille, good morning, Matt and Drew. Y'all have an awesome day. We end our son's football season last night with a win, 7-1 record. That's awesome. Congrats. Carrie Hughes, good morning. Drew, they're requesting the HUDCO jingle. You want to sing the HUDCO jingle?
No.
Aw, you don't want to sing HUDCO jingle? Yeah. HUDCO Roofing? Yeah. You do it. You do it. All right, good job. I got all that. So we'll hopefully find out Will Campbell today. The other thing of note, as I'm sure some of y'all saw, it's there on the description today. Some of the players yesterday said they held a players-only meeting. Again, so a week ago, Jaden Daniels held a players-only meeting with the receivers, and Yesterday it was a players only. Apparently, Monday was a players only meeting with the rest of the team because they're not playing up to their standard. I guess part of me likes that. I like players taking ownership. I don't know that players only meetings actually matter for anything, and usually it signifies or signals something going wrong, like we talked about last week. But I will say this, that Brian Kelly, if you listen to what Brian Kelly has said, he said, he made the process is the process comment. But he's like, we're building, is kind of what he said on Monday. We're building good habits, and it's new and it's different and it's hard. But what he said is, the guys want to do it. They want to do it and they want to win. And that's a great sign, because I know it might be a little, it sound contradictory. I don't know if that's the right word, what I'm looking for there, but of course you want to win. I think you also have to have realistic expectations and understand, hi Drew, where this team's shortcomings are. And there's a lot of them. And did Sports Takeover yesterday on WBRC. If you're not familiar, by the way, Michael Cobble, Shay Dixon, and I do that every Tuesday. We record it, and then it airs at 6:30 p.m. on WBRZ Plus. So even if you're not in Baton Rouge, you can stream it on WBRZ Plus. 30-minute show. And Shay said it really well yesterday. He said, when you have a new head coach, a new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, new special teams coordinator, 9 new full-time assistants, you turned over your full support staff, you added more transfers than anyone, you're starting 2 freshman tackles, you got a freshman linebacker. It's like, you're not going to put all those things in a blender and it's going to be super consistent every time. And he said that, it made a lot of sense. It was a perfect way to put it. So when Brian Kelly says there's going to be good days, there's going to be bad days, he's right. I mean, there's going to be times where you play a good game, you play hard, and the matchup's favorable, and you win. And there's going to be times like Saturday where it's going to be a tough game to boot, and you don't play well, and then you get run 40-13. And I'm not saying that 40-13 is acceptable. But I think given what should be a realistic expectation for this team and understanding where they are, it also shouldn't be surprising that could happen. Of course, you'd love them to go play their best and play super consistent every time out. That just hasn't happened. And when you don't play, like, the great contrast is Bama, right? And what I mean by that is, so Bama's without their starting quarterback. They turn it over 4 times. They missed 2 field goals. They played terribly. Terrible. And they still won the game, 24-20. Like, that's what happens when your program is at a level to where your talent can overcome those shortcomings and deficiencies. LSU's not there right now. That's kind of the point. So, but all of that to say, and I know that was a bit of a roundabout way, that's what happens when we have an in-transit edition of Morning Scone. All of that to say, despite all of those, hi, Drew, despite all of those shortcomings, despite all the personnel shortcomings, despite all the turnover, hi, Drew, and despite losing to Florida State and getting blown out by Tennessee, you've still managed to win a couple of really nice SEC games, a road game against Auburn, and a home game against Mississippi State, which looks better and better each week. And you have guys that are bought in. You have guys that want that. Like, that's where I believe Brian Kelly, when he says the guys want to win, they want to do it. They want to be bought into what we're doing and change the culture and all that stuff. So that's a good sign for the future. Now, ultimately, I'll put it to you this way. Like, last year when LSU got blown out by Kentucky and Ole Miss, it was unforgivable. It was which is why Ed Orgeron got fired. It was unforgivable because you had been established, you had enough talent, you got embarrassed, and your guys quit. That at LSU should never happen. Right now, your issues are different. Your guys aren't quitting. You just don't have the talent, the roster, the stability right now, 1-85, to beat the best teams. But that's going to happen. And when that does, if the results don't measure up, then you got a real problem. But that's something that we'll find out only in time, right? So, you never want to hear about a players-only meeting. Like, you don't hear Bama having players-only meetings. You don't hear, USC or, Clemson having players-only meetings because they're Georgia. They're the model of consistency. They're winning, and they don't need players-only meetings. They're bought in. They're churning, and that's a level LSU wants to get to, and hopefully will in relatively short order. The more I look at the LSU-Florida matchup this weekend, I do like it. I think it's a much more favorable matchup for LSU, certainly than last week against Tennessee. One of the things we talked about with Tennessee was we hadn't seen LSU's cornerbacks tested, right? Like if LSU's corners had to go, if you had to commit numbers to the box to stop the run, and your corners had to go live on an island, could they? Well, the answer was no. Against really good receivers. Well, Florida doesn't have really good receivers. That's the big difference. And I know what you're going to say is, well, Richardson threw for 450 against Tennessee, which he did. And a lot of that was fourth quarter comebacks, big plays. And LSU wasn't able to exploit that largely because they got down so much and were not able to be consistent or balanced on offense in any way. But if LSU can avoid a 17-point hole, I like their ability to go toe-to-toe with Florida. I think Florida's defensive front seven is really good, which, forgive me. I think Florida's linebackers are good. Florida's got good linebackers. I think Florida's offensive line is really good, which presents a real good challenge for LSU's defensive front seven, which we would agree is the strength of this LSU defense, if not the whole team right now. Excuse me. So, I think it's a good matchup for LSU. It's LSU's defensive front seven against Florida's offensive line is strength on strength, and I think LSU can make Florida one-dimensional, and I think there are plays to be made offensively for LSU in this game. Go do it. All right, we're at a red light. You're fun. Say Larry Garner, Brian Arsenault, for the players to hold a players-only meeting. The players, know they can play better than they did. I'm not saying win, but play better. That's true. Callium Alexander can understand why people are hating Coach Kelly in his first year. Those same fans will be sucking up to him in 2 years. Yeah, Callium, look, you're right. You provided they win, which I think they will in time. But I also understand. I do understand fan expectation, and that's kind of the conversation here, right? It's I gotta get over. When you come to expect what LSU fans expect, it's not losing at home to Tennessee 40-13, which I understand. I understand that's not the expectation, but it's why, since the beginning of this season, sort of my kind of, narrative has been, know what you are. Not what you were, what you are. Well, I'm off-road. Okay, got it. A lot of traffic at the Essen Lane exit. Baton Rouge remains the worst traffic city in America. And it's not like look, I get LA has more cars. I get Atlanta has more cars. I get all that. More people, more cars. But for a city this size, for the infrastructure to be this bad is just unforgivable. Anyway, that was Callium Alexander who was talking about people hating on Brian Kelly. It's just understanding what you are, right? Expectations changes. I like Guy Brooks. What's up, Leon Williams? It's positive change. Kelly's building a foundation. Kids and young people respond to structure. Randall Offrecht. Morning, Matt. Do you see the Saints getting a free agent quarterback in the offseason because this draft is weak for quarterbacks? Randall, I don't know if this draft is weak for quarterbacks. Jonathan Martin, Brian Wynn, Kyle DeVille, Tad Page, good morning. Jason H. So I don't, just making sure I got to all. So I don't think this is a weak quarterback draft. I think there's going to be a lot of good players in it. Bryce Young will be in this draft. C.J. Stroud will be in this draft. Will Levis will be in this draft. I think you are going to have, you have a lot of talent at quarterback in this draft. But the problem for the Saints is they don't have a first-round pick. So I don't.
Hi, Dad.
Hi, Drew. So I don't know how you position yourself to take a quarterback high in this draft. Now, if you're sitting there in the middle rounds and there's someone you like and you want to pull the trigger and you think you might, I mean, look, we've seen them do that before. I mean, they just did it 2 years ago with Ian Book, and that came up snake eyes. But, you know, if you think you found a guy that you like in a middle round you want to take, okay, but you can't bank on that guy being your franchise. Now, as far as your question about free agents, well, it's tough because generally starting quarterbacks don't hit free agency, right? If you have a great quarterback, you lock them up. Let's see, Brett DeGrow, we don't have 85 scholarship players right now. Brian Kelly's still trying to fill out a full team. Yeah, I think they're in the mid-70s, if I'm not mistaken. I heard the count recently. I think they're somewhere in the mid-70s for scholarship players. But yeah, he'll get the numbers back. The new signing class rule helps as well, that they've eliminated the hard cap. Kyle DeVille, if Brian Kelly does turn us around, I will leave my words and admit I'm wrong about him. See, Kyle, I don't understand what you mean. You'll admit you're like. What's your opinion on him? Like, he's a guy that's been a head coach for 32 years and has won nearly 80% of his games. I mean, what are you like? What are you confused about? He's literally won everywhere he's been. So he hasn't won a national championship yet. Neither had Nick Saban when he came here. Neither had Les Miles when he came here. Neither had Ed Orgeron when he came here. I mean, what's the point? Is that it? Because if that's the sole criteria, then you'll have to eat your words on every single coach in college football except Nick, Jimbo, who y'all crap on anyway, and look, rightfully so right now, Mac Brown, Dabo, Kirby. That's it. Those are the only coaches in college football right now that have won a national championship. You understand my point? Like, I think in some respects, many of you have forgotten how hard it is and how to win a championship and how few people actually do. Kyle Milliken, Cody Dickerson got burned for like 3 tutties. I mean, look, I'm not gonna knock that kid, but isn't that an example of, or to like you go from Derek Stingley, Cordell Flott, Elias Ricks, Dwight McGlothern to a whole bunch of transfers. One of them from McNeese, one of them from ULL. You know what I mean? Kerry Hughes, I'm with you on roster opinions. Still can't understand why we can't get a complete game showing from the team in big games. That's what's frustrating. Kerry, because they're not that good, man. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you, bro. Like, they'll put it together and play their best game of the year at some point this year, which I don't believe they have yet. But, like, you can't fix the offensive line. You hope a lot of those guys can continue to improve and get better, but, like, you're not going to be dominant. I mean, your starting running back right now is a former walk-on. I don't know, what else to say. Like, your entire secondary is full of transfers that are, 6 games in with this coaching staff. It just, let's see, Chet, would Hooker fall to the Saints? I think his draft stock's only going to continue to improve, so I would say no. Morning, Mac. Good morning, Drew. Great interview with Beckwith yesterday. Yeah, thanks, man. He was great. Derry's awesome. Talked about Harold Perkins not playing. Talked about all the linebackers. What year is the Texas quarterback? Quinn Ewers is in his second year. So he was at Ohio State last year, transferred to Texas this year. But remember, he was an early enrollee, so he should be a freshman in college, but age-wise. But he's in his second year of college, so he'll play at least one more year. Kyle DeVille, I don't see him as a winning coach when you play ND or Central Michigan. When you play at ND or Central Michigan. Yeah, see, Kyle, that's kind of, man, don't make me say stupid again. Like, okay, so Urban Meyer went undefeated at Bowling Green in Utah. Was he not a winning coach till he got to Florida? Come on, man. Like, that's just, discrediting something that is objective fact is just, like, I'm not going to say the S word. I'm not going to say stupid. Like, 2 + 2 is 4, brother. when you coach somewhere and you win a lot of games, you can't discredit that. Like, you were the coach at a place for a long time and won a bunch of games. Like, literally the only thing Brian Kelly didn't do was win a national championship at Notre Dame. He got him into the playoff twice and a BCS championship game once. And his roster wasn't as good as Alabama's. Okay. Like, a lot of people aren't. You know who can have a roster as good as Alabama's? LSU. That's why he's here. Man, I can't get down with that. That's, like, I don't want to go off again because I know yesterday I went off on Jason and I like him a lot. And last week went off on somebody else. Hi, Drew. And I don't want y'all all thinking I hate all y'all, but I don't. But man, sometimes you get like y'all know me by now, and you know, like when you wind up the toy, like it's just gonna go, man. You know, you light that fuse, you know what's gonna happen. Chase Pellegrin, A. Timmons. Kyle also said, did you see where Rick's deleted all of his Bama stuff? Posted a picture of himself in LSU gear. I did, and I will tell y'all this. I mean, y'all know that, you know, maybe y'all know this, but, you know, Shauna Ricks, Eli's mom, was on AFR a bunch, you know, when Eli was being recruited and came here. And I talked to her when Eli had his shoulder surgery last year, when he transferred all. So a couple things. Number one, guys scrub their Instagram often. That's just a common thing, which people overreact to stuff like that too much. And the other thing that many of you have completely lost is that that's not the first time that Rick's has posted a picture of himself in his LSU uniform. He does that. He posts pictures of himself in his high school uniform, his LSU uniform. His Twitter profile still has all of his Bama stuff on it. So, like, that's a gross overreaction to, like, that's the internet grossly overreacting to something that is a complete non-story. So, like, I'm telling you that definitively. I'm not guessing about that. Like, he's not leaving Bama. He's not coming to LSU. There's nothing there. He's just, kid had 2 shoulder surgeries on the same shoulder and he's trying to get back right. So, I know LSU fans love to crap on him, but I don't really like to crap on anybody. Young guy made a decision he thought was best for him, same way that Max Johnson did, and a lot of other guys that left LSU, the same way that Mekhi Wingo and Mekhi Garner and Jaden Daniels and a lot of guys that transferred to LSU did. Y'all ain't pointing a finger at them, calling them names. That transfer portal works both ways, man. You can't celebrate the guys you get and curse the guys that leave. That's hypocritical. You got to recognize that if you're gonna embrace a guy like Mekhi Wingo leaving Missouri because he has a chance at LSU, you can't criticize guys that leave LSU when LSU's a dumpster fire to go find greener pastures. I mean, that's how the portal works, man. You got to call that thing both ways. All right, y'all. We are. If you're just joining us, by the way, wow, 160 watching. Appreciate that. Hi, Drew. We are going to the doctor. We're about to pull up. That's why we have an in-transit edition today of Morning Scone, presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, and Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Hey, do me a quick favor, y'all. Smash that like button if you would before we head out of here. And please subscribe up to the channel if you haven't done so yet. We appreciate that as always. Sorry for the bumpy camera today. I did my best to hold it steady while we drive. But taking Drew to see Dr. B. Drew's going to go get his flu shot this morning. And then off to St. Lillian. So hope y'all have an awesome day. Hey, a couple things real quick before we bounce. LSU Daily is live. If you don't subscribe, please do. Mention that every day. If you would please subscribe up to LSU Daily. You know, usually 30 minutes or less. LSU news, notes, tidbits, info. Hope you enjoy LSU Daily. AFR at 3 and Scone and Tea tonight from Oliver Twist, 7 o'clock. Hope to see many of y'all there. If you can't make it there, join us on YouTube or Facebook. Again, Scone and Tea from Olive or Twist. We'll look forward to seeing y'all there. All right, it's going to do it for us here. Drew, tell everybody, say bye, Dad Show.
Bye, Dad Show.
All right, y'all have a great day. We'll see you later. Peace.